Hello everyone, I'm tribalkai and welcome to the EDH channel. Today's video dedication is brought to you with thanks from Dan Kirch. If you'd like to support the channel as well, then you can visit Patreon and donate with the link in the description below. Failing that, a like, comment and subscribe is always appreciated. Now, let's have a look at everyone's opening hands. A tainted wood for us, so yeah, we're definitely going in for a tap land with the Marsh Flats. Up against patrons today, by the way, Billy Kills on Killian, Mango is on Marwyn, and Bootleg Greedo on Jorkadeen. Big thank you to my opponents for not only supporting the channel monetarily, but for playing the game as well, because it does mean that we're not going to get any early scoopers. And that really helps the content, which in turn helps all of you. So if you want to support on Patreon as well, you can follow the link through to Patreon with the link in the description below. And that'll really help me to keep doing what I'm doing. That'll really spur me on. So a big thank you to you if you decide to do that. Just looking over at the board here, and Marwyn has come down for Mango, thanks to the turn 1 Llanowar Elves, and now a Felwar Stone from Jorkadeen. Okay, Dina is a combo piece for us. Rewards us for gaining life. I think it's Demonic Tutor into some ramp here. We are more land based apart from things like Mana Crypt and Sol Ring. Our ramp is pretty land based, so maybe we just go for a Cultivate here. Orzhov Signet for Killian. And Findhorn Elves will put a plus counter on the Marwyn, so that is already tapping for more mana. Swiftfoot Boots to protect it as well. And Marwyn goes straight in towards Billy Kills. Probably to start putting commander damage on there, because Killian can gain a hell of a lot of life once all the buffs start going on there. And the first equipment coming down from the Boros player, that is Sword of Vengeance. So now it's back around to our turn, and that's alright. That's what I was thinking of tutoring for, and we end up top decking it anyway, so yeah, that panned out very nicely. We'll go for the Sol Ring and Cultivate. No need to play the lands that we've got in hand because it gives our opponents more information. We'll just grab one of each. And here comes the Killian Ink Duelist. I'm assuming that it's going to get enchanted with something here. Yeah, Unquestioned Authority is protection from creatures, and you draw a card when it enters as well. And there is another one, Angelic Gift, that cantrips as well. So no buffs yet apart from flying from the Angelic Gift. Still a 2-2 with Lifelink and Menace. And that's really good. Now a Beast Whisperer from Mango. Only turn 4 and we're already looking to wipe the board. Nullmage Shepherd can tap down to get rid of artifacts, so definitely wouldn't mind seeing a board wipe off the top. Well, apparently the Boros player doesn't have a board wipe because he's going in for his commander. Let's see what we rip into off the top. Alright, a Grave Titan. I don't necessarily mind having a Grave Titan. I'm just worried about Nullmage getting rid of our Sol Ring. If we're not going to see a board wipe, maybe we just go for our commander while we can, while we've got that Sol Ring, because I fully expect to lose it soon. Yeah, so let's go for our commander. Now an Umbra Mystic, so that's going to make it really difficult to get rid of the Killian because each of these auras has totem armor. We'll have to get rid of this first. No vigilance on the Killian yet, so decided not to swing in, even though it's got protection from creatures, which is probably a good idea. Oakhame Adversary as well, which draws a card, thanks to the Beast Whisperer, so still staying at 4 cards in hand. Marwyn can now tap for a lot of mana though. Elvish Warmaster. So the elves can get buffed here. +2/+2 and Death Touch to everything with the Elvish Warmaster for 7 mana. and then playing a land and dropping the Jiraga Tree Speaker to draw another card with the Beast Whisperer. Yep, just dumping his hand onto the board. Farhaven Elf comes down now thanks to the Marwyn mana. I'm assuming that he's not going to activate the Elvish War Master this turn then. Destroy a creature and you lose life equal to the toughness. So yeah, the Beast Whisperer finally going down. But I think it's pretty much done its damage here. Levelling up the Jiraga Tree Speaker. They could do that a few more times to have all the elves tap for mana. So yeah, using the surplus mana, they could do it again with Llanowar Elves. That is currently at level 2. Deciding to let the floating mana go. So that it's probably because they've got 4 here and 4 here that they can tap to the Null Mage to get rid of some artifacts and enchantments if they want to. Now a Skyclave Relic, and that has been kicked, so a bunch of Skyclave Relics come into play, 2 of which are tapped, all of which are indestructible. And that puts Jorkadeen at an 8-4 with first strike. Okay, Tend the Pests is pretty good if we go for Grave Titan maybe. I'm not certain, someone's going to wipe the board, so yeah, maybe it's Grave Titan and hold up Tend the Pests. So if those elves go crazy, they've probably got Trample is the only problem. Yeah, let's just go for that though. I'm going to hold on to the Garruk until after a board wipe, I think. And then I'm not particularly interested in hurting Greedo at all at this point. I would swing in at Billy Kills, but he's got flying and protection from creatures, so yeah, I think we're just holding back here. I'm not entirely certain Mango is going to blow up our Sol Ring. He might go for the enchantments here, so if that's the case, especially with the Umbra Mystic, I think we'll just hold back and try and encourage him to do that. Now minions return, that has flash, but deciding to do it during the main phase. When it dies, return it to the battlefield under your control, so really trying to keep hold of their Umbra Mystic, which makes total sense. And now a Fracture onto the Swiftfoot Boots. Noteworthy that Mango decided not to do anything with Null Mage Shepherd at the end of the turn. I think I definitely would have at least gone after this, so that we'd have a chance of taking down the Umbra Mystic. And now the Death Toucher swings in towards Billy Kills. He does have protection from creatures, but if Billy Kills decides to block with this, he could get rid of that in response, so we'll see if Kills notices that. Yep, so going for the block there because he doesn't want this to get through due to the card draw, but we'll see what happens. Maybe even Mango hasn't spotted that he can do that. Nope, decides not to get rid of the Killian, or at least the enchantment that's on Killian, because it would have come back with Totem Armor. So not making much use of this Null Mage Shepherd as of yet. Now a Martial Coup where X is 6, so that is 6 tokens. Destroys everything apart from the stuff with Totem Armor, so you would expect the Null Mage Shepherd to actually do something here. And there we go, now using the Null Mage Shepherd to get rid of the aura that gives flying, and he can do it again here. And he does do it again, that's good, so the Killian goes down. I think I might have gotten rid of this instead, although he could have done that in the previous turn. I think I would focus on the Umbra Mystic at this point because he can always recast Killian because it's so cheap, but it adds command attacks at least. So the board gets wiped, we will return our commander to the command zone and all the pests will trigger. So I did say that after a board wipe we play our Garruk, but unfortunately there's soldier tokens in play after this board wipe. And there is another equipment in Lightning Greaves. Everyone's running fairly low on cards here, 2 here, 3 for Mango and 2 for Greedo as well. A Lightning Greaves goes on to one of the soldiers and decides to swing in at us, sends us plummeting down to 45. And of course, as soon as the board gets wiped, we see a Skull Clamp. Could go Sengir Autocrat and Skull Clamp the stuff. Don't think we can afford our commander here, can we? No, we're just shy of being able to do that. I might go for the Garruk here just for the sake of making tokens. We could Skull Clamp one of the wolves That will put loyalty on Garrick and it'll draw us cards as well. Or is it a better idea to just go for the Sengir Autocrat? Yeah, we'll go for the Garrick. And then clamp one of the wolf tokens. Like I said, I wouldn't have thought they'd send the Umbra Mystic into Garrick unless they can enchant it, but even then, they'd save the auras for their Killian, I'd think. So it's probably just the soldiers we need to worry about with our Garrick. Billy Kills casts Killian Ink Duelist again. And then Animate Dead onto our Grave Titan. Now, how does that work with Totem Armor? If an enchanted permanent you control would be destroyed, instead remove all damage from it and destroy the aura attached to it. But then that would still trigger the Animate Dead, so the Animate Dead triggering would still get them to sacrifice the Grave Titan, I think. Anyway, the Umbra Mystic going in towards Mango. First point of damage being dealt to him. Goes down to 38. And Marwyn comes back down for the Elf deck. The Elf deck's been slowed right down thanks to the board wipe. A Mind's Eye for Greedo, with only 2 cards left in hand. Don't think he has a means of gaining life. This does not give lifelink. Noteworthy as well that he has Handwear Battlements as well, which is a means of giving haste. And not swinging in any soldiers towards the Garrick, surprisingly. So maybe scared of the Skull Clamp. We draw a card, so Mind's Eye will be triggered. And he does put a mana into that, as you would expect. He'll put all of his mana into Mind's Eye during this turn cycle, I dare say. So why don't we go tend the pests here? We can put a little bit of loyalty on Garrick. In fact, we can put enough loyalty on Garrick to get the emblem, which is probably a good idea, so we'll make some decent pest tokens. It does switch off our Skull Clamp, unfortunately, if we decide to do that. But it's probably worth it, especially if we draw a land here. We can get down Beledros next turn. We've got Pier's Whim to make more lands with as well. And there's a Toxic Deluge, I don't mind that. And now Bootleg Greedo likely doesn't have a Generous Gift or a Chaos Warp for our Garrick, so go for the emblem while we can. Or do we want to... let's go Pier's Whim. And probably Skull Clamp a pest or 2 first. Doing foe for everyone apart from myself doesn't hurt Mango because he doesn't have anything to sacrifice. We do get to search for a land here though. So let's go for the Gaia's Cradle. Could have gone for Field of the Dead there, I suppose. Might have been a better idea. So let's go for 1 Skull Clamp on the pest. And that triggers the Mind's Eye again, so Greedo, after our turn, is going to be at 7 cards already. We get into another land, an Iara as well, which will be good with the Sengir Autocrat. Yeah, I think we're okay to just go for the emblem here so that we've got a decent number of pests in play with buffs on them. So we'll clamp on one of the pest tokens and we'll leave it like that. Didn't look at what people sacrificed actually. The Orzhov Signet went down over here because they're not going to get rid of Grave Titan with Animate Dead. And a Felwar Stone over here. The Pier's Whim was pretty much just to get us into the Gaia's Cradle. Maybe should have gone for Field of the Dead though. There's even an argument to be made for us going Sengir Autocrat with the emblem in play. Anyhow, a few buffs going on to the Killian here. That is a +3/+3 buff. And then +1/+1 and First Strike per enchantment you control. And that is an 8/8 with Menace, Lifelink and First Strike. So it might be time for a board wipe next turn. The Grave Titan swings in towards Mango, who will no doubt take it. Elderleaf Mentor makes an Elf Warrior token when it enters. Equipment number 3 in Sword of the Animist being cast by Greedo. And that gets equipped to a Soldier token. And then casting more ramp in Solemn Simulacrum. So now the Rampant Growth Soldier swings in towards Billy Kills. Offering up a lot of life gain there actually. I think I might have swung in towards us. Or even to the elf player. And Billy Kills deciding not to take the chance of losing his commander potentially. So just deciding to take the hit. Okay, a doubling season for us. So, do we go doubling season into our commander? I was tempted to pretty much play out our hand this turn, go Ayara, and for the Sengir Autocrat and our commander, maybe even Dina, I think we could have afforded as well. And then Ayara would have been pinging our opponents. Well, either way, we're getting down the swamp. Yeah, I think we're best just going for the doubling season this turn and hoping it sticks. So we get down the Beledros. Let's go for the doubling season. And then we're passing the turn over, getting 2 pest tokens every upkeep. And they will be 4/4 pest tokens for the rest of the game. And then if we can keep this board state, it might be worth just going for Ayara and Dina next turn and start really pecking away at our opponent's life totals. It's noteworthy that we could have untapped the lands with the Beledros, of course, but I don't really want to just dump my hand onto the board until I'm sure that it's safe from mass exile or something like that. Although there's an argument to be made for getting Summoning Sickness away from this so that we can start drawing cards. Billy Kills just top-decked into a land, seemingly. So let's see if he decides to swing in with Killian or not. Does swing in with the Grave Titan. And the Killian this time. Both of them go in towards Greedo, while we've got this huge token army for people to contend with. They're not wanting to swing in towards us, which is really good. So, yeah, some blocks going on to the Killian there. Has to block twice thanks to the, not Mentor, thanks to the Menace on the Killian. And that does include blocking with a Solemn Simulacrum, so that will die and draw Greedo a card. He's still at 7 cards in hand thanks to the Mind's Eye. Mango, with now only 1 card left in hand, goes for Woodland Bellower and a land. Woodland Bellower always reminds me of my Yarok deck. Yeah, I really like Woodland Bellower. They can go for probably a Rex Sage on the doubling season here, I would think. Hopefully they don't touch our Skull Clamp, because we can probably, if we keep this board state, probably start going for Dina and her sacrifices next turn. Alright, don't go for Rex Sage anyway, they go for Eternal Witness, maybe getting the Beast Whisperer back. Or maybe the Null Mage. Yeah, they went for the Beast Whisperer and they can cast that this turn. Now Jorkadine the Prevailer coming back into play, still with plenty of mana and cards in hand. And a Coalition Relic just to add to the mana, and the Metalcraft as well. Then a Keeper of the Accord, how many lands do they have? I think that's 10 that they've got. I think we're on a fairly even keel when it comes to lands, but pretty much everyone has more creatures than they do. So there will be some soldier tokens made by Keeper of the Accord. And then the soldier going back in towards Billy Kills. And he probably will kill it off this time, I'd imagine. Bear in mind it is a 5/2 now. But decides to take it again, curiously. Wants to keep his zombie tokens. Probably for chump blocking against our pests, I would think. But our pests are only 4 damage as opposed to the 5 from this. Plus you can force Greedo to re-equip this for 2 mana. Anyhow, the Lightning Greaves going on to the Jorkadine. And we make it round the entire table with a Beledros and a bunch of pests in play. Get into a Bayou. So let's see here. Let's draw some cards and then we can decide what we want to do. We'll go for the Ayara first. That drains our opponents when it enters, and then each of our opponents lose 1 life to the Dina. Now then, do we go after... Much as I don't want to leave Kills alone, I think we might have to go after Mango because he's more likely to use some kind of overrun effect. Maybe we go in at Billy Kills with the Beledros, now that he doesn't have flying. And we can threaten commander damage over there. We do have to be wary of this becoming unblockable. Getting 11 power and double strike, especially now that it has Shroud on it, although they won't be able to buff it too much while it's got Shroud, so we might have an out there. Anyhow, let's turn all of these in towards Mango. I haven't even counted out all of this actually. That is 6, 12, that's 24 on its own. 28. Yeah, we might have enough to just take them out here. They decided not to block anyway. So down goes Mango, the elf player. Billy kills on 7 point of Beledros commander damage. Why don't we start... Yeah, we'll start sacrificing stuff and refilling our hand with the Dina. That will gain us a life and hurt our opponents with the Dina as well. I think we're okay to tap down the Gaia's Cradle at this point while we've got all the creatures. That is 13 mana that generates. And it is noteworthy as well that the Garrick emblem gives a +3/+3 buff, but it also gives trample, which is relevant with the Dina in play because that's already a 14/16 or a 14/6 even. Yawgmoth is even more card draw. Maybe that's a better sack outlet. So we'll go for that here. And then we'll go for a clamp on a pest again. Pay a life and sacrifice. We'll get rid of this Umbra Mystic, which again triggers the Mind's Eye. Our opponent's tapped out, so that doesn't matter. Zulaport Cutthroat for even more drain is good. Umbra Mystic will go down when we do that again. Let's go for the Sakura Tribe Elder. We can clamp it and then sacrifice it to itself before untapping if we want to. So let's play the Sakura Tribe Elder. That'll come down as a 4/4. Clamp goes on there. Sacrifice it to its own ability to get another land. We'll go for a black mana because we've got plenty of green from the Gaia's Cradle. Probably should have gone for Zulaport Cutthroat first there actually, because I'm not sure how far down we can drain our opponents at this point. Got into Mana Crypt, so we'll certainly play that. Play the Zulaport Cutthroat as well. That is a black creature, so it triggers Ayara and Dina. Now we'll clamp onto a pest and get rid of this Umbra Mystic with the Yawgmoth, which triggers the Zulaport Cutthroat because a creature of ours has died. Alright, and we're at a point where we can make a bunch of tokens here. I'm not sure if we can win this turn. We might be able to. Yeah, let's go for activating our Beledros. We can probably untap our lands and draw enough to drain our opponents out at this point. So let's go Endrick Sar. And that's a black creature, so it'll trigger the Ayara. And then we can go Sengir Autocrats. And those bring in black creatures as well. The whole point in running all the black tokens in the deck, they're all black tokens, is because of Ayara. Bit of a strange one to build around, but it works in situations like this. Just gives us one more aristocrat in the deck. So all of these Thrall tokens come into play. And they trigger Ayara. That means that we're going to kill off our own Endrick Sar. Yeah, I forgot about the double tokens actually from the doubling season. I thought we'd managed to keep the Endrick Sar in play longer. So what we could do here is go for Rust Rebirth and go after a Blood Artist just to speed the game up a little bit. I think we'll go for that onto the Endrick Sar. 21 mana from the Gaia's Cradle this time. So the Endrick Sar goes down to the Thralls, triggers Zulaport Cutthroat, which will trigger the Dina. And then Rust Rebirth will trigger. And these are our options. I think it's pretty much Creekwood Liege would be a good one to go for, but we've already been through combat. Yeah, I think it's just Blood Artist to speed things up. So I think before this stack is over, we're going to be able to get rid of Billy Kills. Oh, and actually, the Sengir Autocrat brings in Surf tokens as well, so even without the doubling season, the Sengir Autocrat would have brought in 4, and the Endrick Sar would have made 4 from us casting this as well. It hasn't ultimately mattered here. We don't need to draw cards or anything. In fact, when this enters, this should be enough to drain our opponents out. Or our one opponent, I should say. Yeah, so apparently didn't need the Blood Artist at all, because that does trigger on death, as opposed to the Ayara that triggers on entry. So it's 2 life lost per black creature that enters, thanks to Ayara and Dina. And Greedo decides to show us his hand there, had a whole lot of artifacts in play, or in hand, as you would expect in a Jorkadeen list. So big thank you to my opponents for playing that out. If I was playing against randoms on Magic Online, then they probably would have scooped to that, which is fair enough because they've lost, but it is cool to see through it all. Hopefully you all enjoyed that one. Be sure to leave it a thumbs up and subscribe if you did. If you want to support on Patreon, you can follow the link through to Patreon with the link in the description below. Just like these three did, big thank you to them for playing and supporting the channel. It really does help a lot. I'm tribalkai on the EDH channel. Thank you for watching.